When we think about the term every learner, every day, especially for me as a community member, like you said, who's been here for 20 years, my son is here in the district, so it's just an awesome opportunity for me to give back to my community in ways that I thought I'd never be able to. But when we say every learner, every day, this is about the authentic engagement, right, of our learners, of our parents, our community members, our faculty, our staff, our leaders, just in the academic process, right, including everyone in that academic process and making sure that we give all of our students the greatest opportunity to achieve.
How do we intentionally build the systems in VVSD to ensure both equity and continuous improvement?
First of all, we have to position ourselves to value difference and driving conversations that we typically steer away from just around difference. If we can value difference and understand that there's an asset around differences, and we can bring that into our classroom spaces, our leadership spaces, that's the first step. Secondly, we'll have to make sure that we are seeing the system. So as leaders, as educators, as parents, as students, we are all responsible for the outcomes that are being produced in our system. So let's recognize what it is that we are producing here in our system. And if there are some discrepancies or some areas that we need to get better, let's have some honest conversations and work to that end. And lastly, it's just the willingness to remove barriers, right? As leaders, in any capacity here in our district, we have a responsibility as educators to remove any barriers to success, so there's access to opportunities that our district offers. So those are kind of the three foundational pieces to systems design and really being intentional around equity and continuous improvement. Because what I will say is the conversation around equity in recent years has really redefined what it means to be, an excellent educator, an excellent leader, an excellent student, so forth and so on. So those three areas are at the core of systems change and really stretching ourselves to better, understand not only ourselves and our relation to our systems, but to better support our students within the systems.
What was your path to educational leadership, specifically to the current position you now hold, which seeks to guarantee a level experience for all students?
First of all, coming into education was a career change for me. So if you would have asked me in my senior year of high school, would I be on the path to educational leadership? I know that wouldn't have been the case, right, for me in that moment. But over time, with key folks in my life who kind of geared me towards education as a profession, had a feeling that I would be a good fit for education. That was kind of the start of it. But per my own experience, I'll say that from the grades of about third grade to 12th grade, I moved quite a bit, right? So I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, ended up moving to the south side of Chicago, moved to Bellwood, Maywood, ultimately Darien. And in all of those different experiences, trying to navigate the system, my experiences were such that I felt that I didn't necessarily have the opportunities to be as successful as I could have been, right? My mother, she worked incredibly hard to try to position us for success by pushing us further and further into the suburbs and getting us away from very difficult situations in the inner city. But even just with her doing that, it wasn't enough, right? So I was able to see firsthand where the system may have not supported me in the best possible ways. So kind of as I grew and I matriculated through my K through 12 experience, I realized that there were some things going on that could have been better in terms of servicing me as a student.
But you started your professional career in education as a high school counselor, right?
Kind of the driving force behind that was the experiences that I had as a high school student, not really having a connection with my counselor, not seeing the system support me in ways that would have helped me maximize my potential at the time. So I was really focused on being able to provide that type of experience to students as a counselor. Along the way of that work, I had an opportunity to dive into the equity work that my district at that time was leaning into. So I was identified as a teacher leader, right, if you will, around being able to drive conversations of equity, of continuous improvement, and I just had opportunities at not only my building but at the district level, at the regional office of education, to really lean into ways of support support this work. And then shortly after that, I went back to school, got my doctorate in ethical leadership, and my dissertation was really focused on creating equitable systems, and it was equity focused. And as you would have it, these equity director positions began to materialize well before I even thought about entering a leadership role as an equity director. So it was just kind of right time, right place, and having the skills and the will and the capacity to do this work, that just was a great fit for me to lean into this type of leadership role that I'm in today.